Forrest Blakk, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. If you love her, you can hear it on this station, stream it anywhere you get music. Such a big, big song. And before we get into the regular Q&A, just got to say, big day for you as the remix collaboration with Meghan Trainor releasing today. It sounds phenomenal. How exciting is it for you as an artist to have someone as wildly talented as Meghan Trainor, say, look, I want to be a part of this. It wasn't something that, hey, we're going to pair you guys up and you do this. Like, she heard the record and said, I need to be a part of this. What's that like for you?
It's crazy. Even like the thing is, as you're saying it, I'm like, did that really happen? Did it really? Because you're saying it and I believe it. It happened. No, it's like, to be honest, every single day it's been a pinch me moment. And it's funny because I did an interview not too long ago where someone was like, who's the biggest celebrity who slid into your DMs to like let you know they love the song? And at the time, there's been people, but like nothing that I was like, well, this would be crazy. It's not like, Justin Bieber hit me up and was like, dude, great job, like, go Canada. So and then that Friday, literally Megan slid into my DMs and was like, I am your biggest fan. She's like, I love the song. And I was like, well, and it took me a second. I had to go to my girlfriend. Like,
you're like, is this a real account?
Like, yeah, because you don't know, you're like,
yeah.
Because I've had people like hijack, like make fake accounts for me. So I'm like, is this real? Like, I'm like, and then I'm like, 11.8 million followers. I'm like, yeah, that's real. And then she's like texting me, and I was like, what is happening? So I'm texting with Meghan Trainor. I'm looking at my girlfriend. I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, I love the song so much. And then she just sends me a version with a second verse written and her singing on all the choruses. And I was like, it's done? Like, you did this? Like, it's over? Man, blew my mind. Like, wow.
I'm sure, it's probably more so because, to your point, she's in your DMs. She's sending you a finished thing. It's not an email from your management team or the label saying, hey, we want to get you guys together to work on this. When can you Zoom? It's like, hey, I'm going to DM you on Instagram or Twitter. Here's a link to a finished product.
Yeah. And she was like, my whole family like is making me do this for sure. Like, they love the song so much. Like, even last night when it came out, there she is on her Instagram stories with her husband and her newborn baby. And this is the thing too, like, she just had a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like she's Superwoman. She has a baby and she runs into a studio and cuts the vocal on my song and writes a verse like that. That's amazing. And then so anyway, she's on Instagram last night. She's like dancing with her kid and her husband. And I'm like, again, like I'm just like, what is happening? That's crazy.
You're attached to all these great moments in her life, obviously the birth of her first child, and now you're a part of that in some way. The only way you get even more so, I think, is if, they just name the child Forrest or use it as a middle name.
I'm pretty sure they're going to do that.
I mean, it's inevitable at this point. So
Forrest Trainor.
That's a great name.
Great.
In the 90s, you absolutely saw this. There was this weird phase where everybody was...
I was born in 1996.
So you're a part of it. You remember the phase where singers and songwriters were trying to get the next wedding song, the song that for the next 30 years is going to be everyone's first dance. And there were a few of those that still get played. But I've seen lately a trend where there's a lot of great ballads that are kind of this situation where, like, I messed up, the next person needs to do better, or I need to do better the next time. Is it weird to add a dance for the bride and her most recent ex to one of these songs? Is that too odd and awkward?
No, I think, this has been kind of the really cool thing about putting a song out. Like, for me, it did come from a place similar to that, where it was like, I thought somebody wanted a house. So I was working hard to get the house, not realizing that what the person wanted was maybe a house, but really what they wanted was a hug or a kiss. And it's sometimes the small moments that you kind of overlook. And that's like classic guy brain, like overthinking, trying to do the thing, it's like, like you forget to say good morning and good night because you're too busy trying to do other stuff, like to make a world. But I think that the beautiful part about it is that's become like advice even to myself now through other people and how they see the song.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, in my relationship, I'm in a great relationship, love my girlfriend. I just need to do all those things that I wrote about. And if I do that, I see that my relationship's awesome. And I see like other people being like, that is my husband, that is my partner, that is my, but other people are like, my dad would say that to the guy who's trying to date me.
Mhm.
And then when I'm like, wow, that's really beautiful. So I think you start putting that all together. I don't think anything's weird. I think that's the beautiful part. If you, however you choose to hear the song and however you use it is, that's, I guess, why it's working with people. They're writing themselves into the story.
I love it. And I was actually, that leads to the next question, you know, in the relationship or relationships that you've had since that, you know, that inspirational relationship to the song, has it helped you be a better partner?
Oh my God. Yeah. I think, well, without a doubt, you know, like, I think every time you fail at something, it's not because you went into it going, I hope I fail. Like, you never ask somebody to date you going, I hope it just train wrecks one day.
Yeah.
Like, you go in going, man, you're going to be it. You're so excited. But I think that wears off. And I think we put so much like pressure on love to hold us up. And you don't realize that maybe love is the entry point. It's exciting. But then how you care for something and nurture it, that becomes a different type of love. And I think that's just maybe emotional maturity. I don't know. Like, I think a lot of people get it wrong, but if you're going to get it wrong, at least try to get something right. And the next time you get another round at or another chance, you know, love is a special thing. And man, I know, like with my partner, with Tiffany, she's, you know, our whole life is like this open talking love. It's like, you know, the balance of our relationship isn't solely dependent on that feeling. It's like, hey, sometimes I don't know if I like you today, but man, do I love you still. And that's become the thing. Anyway, I could talk about her for days and days. And days.
I love it. I think it's so interesting. You know, I think over the last year, a lot of people have been really forced to evaluate their relationships, you know, their friendships, their romantic relationships, because maybe you've been stuck in the same room, in the same house with people for months or weeks or days on end. And I think sometimes you're right. We lose sight of the small little gestures because we're so worried about the big things.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so amazing to hear that. And you state it so well. You've got some dates already lined up to perform. Speaking of getting out of the house, looking later in the summer, how excited are you to get out and connect with your, you know, your fans and people, not just through DMs like Meghan Trainor, but maybe you actually see Meghan Trainor in person and get to give her a hug and, you know, all these other things. How excited are you?
I'm beyond excited. I feel like I was supposed to tour at the Goo Goo Dolls last year, and you know, COVID came and just kind of wiped out all that. And that was a dream come true moment where I was going to be able to play, excuse me, like play Red Rocks again and the Greek and everything in between, and even go home. I was going to play in Toronto, and you know, I'm from Montreal originally, but I was going to be able to play in Canada and Toronto, and I had a lot of people coming to see that show. So I feel like it's kind of like a slingshot. You know, I feel like just been this constant tension of like, as soon as you can get out, and then like me sitting here with my ADHD brain being like, I'm gonna play concert on double speed.
That first show back, I'm sure, is going to be just completely magical for you.
Oh my God. I mean, well, look, I love concerts. I love playing them, but if I'm being like fully, you know, with full disclosure, my favorite part's after the concert. When the concert's done, I love meeting all the people. I love hearing all the stories, and I love hearing how people connected to songs or moments, or someone will come up and be like, man, I just had my first kiss with my girlfriend, you know, at your show, or someone's like, my kid just saw their first concert and it was you. And it's like, you know, like you said earlier, like you start living into people's moments. And as a songwriter, that's the coolest thing. It's like, wow, I'm the soundscape to someone's memory or moment. And to hear it is like, it's so incredible. It's a really cool, like the whole thing's a cool experience. So, I mean, for me though, I am literally the last person usually to leave a venue. Like, I love the people so much. I just love connecting with them. So I'm like, it's been an incredible year in a lot of ways because I've had this time with my girlfriend, which I haven't ever had while being, you know, while doing music. I've never had this much time. And I love how much time I've had, but I miss people so much, like so much. You know,
I think
even
that's a big blanket statement for a lot of us, you know, just getting back and connecting with people. We asked some fans to submit some questions. We got a really good one, and one that actually came up a lot. This one's from Angeli. She wants to know, if you weren't making music, what would you be doing?
Whew. You always think you'll know the answer to these questions, but then every time they pop up, you're like, I don't know. The last time I answered it was correct. I honestly, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that whatever I would have probably found myself in would be something to do with people. Again, you know, when I was younger, I was like, I think I thought about being a paramedic. I was like, that'd be so cool. Like I'm such a wannabe helper. I just want to help everybody, you know? And so probably something like that. Maybe I'd end up being a paramedic, or maybe like a psychologist or something, being like, let's talk about your feelings and love.
Well, you know, I think it's interesting you say that, you know, you want to help people and you want to, you know, make people's lives better. And, you know, the irony is you are doing that. You know, your music is connecting people and, you know, to your point, being the soundtrack to some of these moments. So I think it's ironic that you may not be driving around in a truck with flashing lights and running into buildings, but you're still, I think, making just as positive an impact in people's lives. And I'm sure they all absolutely appreciate it.
Yeah, I feel that too. I knew when I started, you know, when this started becoming a really, really big thing, and the way that the potential was there, you know, I knew what my intention was. And it's like, I remember being a kid and feeling pretty invisible. And I remember there was a few people in my life along my path that made me feel really visible and what that meant to me. And I think that, you know, when you're in my position, you know, they call it the spotlight, like you're genuinely in a spotlight. And it's like, you can also redirect that light though, you know, and I don't really need like to feed an ego. I don't need to like, hey, look at me. But it's like, who can we look at? Like, so to me, it's like every kid or person, you know, who's messaging me online and being like, here's my story. It is wild and beautiful for someone to be so vulnerable to connect to a stranger that they look up to. And I just always think like, again, somebody gave me 5 minutes of their time when I was a teenager and it changed the course of my life. So the thought that you have that, like, I don't know if it's opportunity that I would say, but maybe it's more responsibility. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you want to do with it? Because it's easy to be like, dude, I don't have time. It's another thing to be like, wow, man, like, I hear you, I see you. And then it just really makes people feel good. They're like, wow. So like, yeah, anyway, it's just,
I love it, man. No, it's great. It's fantastic. Forrest Blakk, thank you so much for taking the time today to talk and to share your experience and your music. If you love her, both the original and the brand new remix with Meghan Trainor, you can hear it on this station and you can stream it wherever you get your music. Thank you so much, sir. I hope you and Tiffany are able to have yourselves a great rest of however long we're going to be stuck together. And we look forward to great big things from you this year.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. And thanks for everyone for listening. I really appreciate it.